Buy my novel, Escape from the Village, from major booksellers online. Go to escapevillage.com. Subscribe to my Substack. Go to fountainheadforum.substack.com. Thank you. Welcome to the Party Pal. This is Fountainhead Forum 74. I'm talking to Karen Bueno, who is from Peru, and she's a fan of Ayn Rand, who I met recently. She's going to tell us about what's going on in Peru for the last several years and the corruption and other things going on down there. She's currently in Lima, but she's going up to Quillabamba in the because Peru is still mostly jungle, and it's a very unique and diverse place. How you doing, Karen?
Hi, Chris. Hi. Great to be here. Thanks for the invitation for this talk. I'm really glad to be here.
How did you get into Ayn Rand and the Liberty Movement?
Oh, let me tell you. Like 1 month ago, a German academic philosopher, Martin Hoss, came here to Peru to give a seminar, a 2-week seminar on Ayn Rand. So fortunately, I get to know about this seminar through the Libertarian Party. And I went to this 2-week seminar. No, the first was an introduction on Ayn Rand. And the second week was like tools for getting your highest potential. So from there, I get to know that there is this event in Arizona, the Level Up event. Yes. I think there is every year.
Yeah.
So the Martin Hoss was a speaker on this event. So he encouraged me to apply to a scholarship, and I get it, and I went there just 1 month ago. So it was really, really nice to be there and see how they fight for liberty, how they prepare their people to have a meaningful lives.
So you were involved. So how'd you get into it sounds like you were involved with the Peruvian Libertarian Party then before all this. How'd you get into all that?
No, not yet. I'm not involved in any political party yet, but I went to speak to the Libertarian Party here in Peru because since all this situation with Castillo started and our freedom was threatened, I started go out as a speaker. And because I prepared the conceptual framework about what is development. So if we talk about development, what should we think about? So I prepared a conceptual framework based on Manfred Max Neff ideas, which is I had to explain it in English. He was not satisfied with the neoclassical conception of economy. So he started reviewing a lot of material about the needs theory, la teoría de, I have some notes here, I think. He reviewed la teoría de las necesidades, like Maslow. I don't know if you heard about Maslow.
Yes, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, yes.
Maslow. So, but he said that was really not the best way to think about it, because our needs really don't go on a hierarchy. No, it's not that you satisfy one need and then another appear. But so he prepared his own taxonomy classification of needs, like economy of the people, that you can really touch the economy of the person. So he created this model. And also because I study a master in regional development and planning management, I was able, from this theory and some other concepts, to build a conceptual framework in a graphic way. So I started talking about it in order to give reason to development. So what is really development about? So we have this triangle of sustainability. We have a territorial. So I can show you some pictures of what I have been developing. in order to give reason. So then I find I'm working on this like from 20 years ago, really, in order to understand how really to build development. And then when I get to know Ayn Rand, I was like fascinated, because I think, oh, I've been following reason. I'm really a follower of Ayn Rand without knowing, no? So I was really pleased to know more about her and encouraged to talk more about reason and all these conceptual frameworks. So I went to speak to this Libertarian Party as a, I don't know, maybe a political teacher or something. And that's how I get to know Ayn Rand, and I'm now a follower of Ayn Rand.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Pedro Castillo was the president from 2021 to 2022. He was with the Free Peru Party, which he was a school teacher. Sounds like he came from the really poor sections of Peru, but he decided to become a socialist because that seems to be the way that they see as the answer to poverty down there. I don't know why that's the case, but that's he often would be shown with a white cowboy hat. But yeah, and so he was ousted. How exactly?
Hosted, you mean?
He was removed from office, or he's out, no longer the president.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
December 7, he launched a coup. No, he said, okay, now we dissolve the Congress, and so he launched this coup. But the military in Peru, no, from the Marine, the Navy, and all the military soldiers were not in online with this coup, no. So it was like, why did he do that? No, it was really, he didn't have the complete power to do such a thing. So he starts escaping. He was going to a embassy, I think, of Mexico, where his wife is now. So in the middle of the street, all the people start saying, "Oh, he's escaping! He's escaping!" No, so they got him in the street after he make a coup. So he want to be a dictator. I think that was his will, no, to take us our freedom. So that's how he himself took him out of this place, you know, of this president role. And even though he's a teacher, he never teach. He can even tell a rational story. I have some theory. I don't know. Sometimes the people who want to help more are the ones who need more help. No, maybe it's like a mirror reflection of their situation, and also it's. I think all this starts like from an indignation of corruption, an indignation of other people having things and they don't. But I don't know. I have some friend from Cusco, and he told me that in school they teach him to hate Lima. No, but that is really nonsense. They think that some people have things because they took from them, and not because of their really they work hard. No, so it was really a very difficult situation on Castillo. So he launched this coup on December 7, and then he got in jail, and immediately the vice president, Dina Boluarte, assumed as president. Like everything was really a democratic process.
Yeah.
No, even though now she's populist and her government is really not doing really great things. No, I can say really it's
Yeah.
a very populist government, but at least she's democratic and at least she will complete her process. So it's really hard to talk about democracy because everyone here says I'm democratic, even if it's from the right, from the left. But to be really democratic is to, okay, now she's in charge, so we have to wait till she finishes, and to
Yeah.
get really in the and the ones who believe in capitalism, the ones who believe that people really deserve a meaningful life, that people who want liberty, we really have to get together in only one front, I can say, no, for elections. and not in a lot of parties where all the votes spread and then anything can happen.
Yes. Free Peru is mostly the Marxist party in Peru. So, do you think I don't know as much about her, but she doesn't look like is she as much of a socialist as Castillo was?
Yes, she's not much as he was. I think
Yeah,
with her, at least we're not going to get into a dictatorship. No, at
yeah,
least she will do her process and then she will finish. I think she's also calling to dialogue with these people who have recently uh, take the street with this. I was telling you about this Lima taken
yeah.
three, which I don't know, just the name, no, just the name to take the city. It's like violent. It's like against, no, and so a minority went out. But they say no, we're democratic, and then they say no, we want to free Castillo, and then but he's in jail. He's a thief. He's a corrupted. Everything is proven. So, but now they claim him that he has to be free. They claim they want new elections. So what democracy is there? No, but they say no, we're democratic. We're democratic. But I think they are just using the word, but they really don't know the real meaning of the word. No.
I don't know. American libertarians don't really have a particularly positive opinion of democracy. Anyway, we like to say that it's two wolves and a sheep voting on what to have for lunch or breakfast.
Yeah, I think democracy is not really a meaning itself, but it's a tool for elections. No, it's just a tool. I can say, but at least we really depend on that. Oh, okay, we can. If you don't like talking about democracy, okay, we can say, okay, please, dictatorship. No,
Yeah,
we really don't want to have dictatorship. So we want to have free elections. So when you're threatened, no, when your liberty is threatened, and people want to establish a dictatorship, then you really have to talk about what is democracy. You know? For me, it's a tool. It's a tool so that people choose who want to govern, but it's not a mean in itself, because it's not because I arrive to power, now you do whatever I want, or what you just have to to say amen to whatever I decide. I still have to keep asking people and knowing what they really want, and start a dialogue process. But democracy, it's important, and maybe in some other countries it's like really obvious, but here not. Here I've never been so scared, no, with when about my liberty. I never thought really about liberty. It was like it was something obvious. But when Castillo came to power, I was really scared. I have two kids. No, what's the future for them? So I said, okay, I've been preparing myself from a long time ago in regional development. I want to be a mayor a long, long time ago. No, I said, okay, maybe I can do something. But it was really hard for me to come into a political party, because I see a lot of corruption. So I preferred working like in NGOs, on private projects, and not really with the government. I work with the government, but not as a politician, more as a technician, no, in the National Institute of Innovation, of Agricultural Innovation, also in a agrarian university, but not as a politician, just as a technician. No, so as a politician, I'm really not in a political party yet. There are new political parties now. Maybe I can think about it, but I haven't decided it yet. No, I prefer to raise my voice and to speak and to bring reason through this conceptual framework. I'm almost finishing my book. I will let you know when it's ready, and I will start producing some material to explain in a graphic and simple way what is development about. No. about it has levels, it has senses, it has I don't know. I have my conceptual framework here. I can show you later. So. In a graphic way to explain and to bring reason to development, because these people who these socialists really get no evidence of progress, no. So they just want this bonus and bonus, and I think that's not really a meaningful life, no. So we have to help them, because we have a lot of people that for so many years were far from market and modernization, because we used to have a very centralized government. Then with Toledo, with President Toledo, he appeared with this new decentralization, no, which was more in theory, but in the practice, really, the process was really, I don't know, they really don't prepare to have an effective process, because it was more like, okay, a translation of corruption, but to the regions. No, so I'm really very much interested that the government we have really get skilled people, or the people who are there get prepared. So that's my dream. I don't know. I think we cannot reduce the state because it's really big, but at least what we have to make it work. No, and recently I heard that Dina has created the National Infrastructure Authority. So the state is growing more, and I hope we can get some results. They say that they will administrate the big projects so that there is no corruption, but I'm not sure that this will happen. No? I really would like to train mayors. No, that's my I don't know. I expected you to train mayors and make them think a bit more, know how to provide development, and to think more in people and not in things. No, not it's not just a road. It's not just, I don't know, the cemento. I don't know how you say cemento.
Cement, as in concrete, or just
Concrete. No, okay, development is not just in concrete, but it's necessary. Of course, we need infrastructure, but we need a better understanding of people and what really give us value. So I find good answers in Ayn Rand, but also Manfred Matzneff has good answers. He said that we have value because if we get subsistence, protection, understanding, freedom, participation, creation. How do you say? I'm looking for the word in English. Let me check my notes. I have understanding, love, protection, subsistence, freedom, free time, creation, participation, and identity. I will bring my chart here so you can see.
Your identity, yeah.
No, I'm building a new one, so I want to explain that development has levels, but and there is a person level. No, we never talk about this. We just talk about global, national, regional. But what about people? No, also we have these two ways. No, on top down and bottom up. So also people is present there. We have this sustainable development, sustainable triangle where we have social, environment, and economics, but people is really here. No, I'm changing this graphic because we are here. So this discussion against socialists and capitalists, I think it's really not matching. It's not working. No, then also the territorial concept. We have these planes. No, there's demography, education, health, economy, environment, etc. Depending on the territory you are. No, maybe you have sea. What resources you have? You have to think. You have a lot of processes going on, and the core is to achieve quality of life. No, quality of life for people. And in Manfred Matzneff, he says we get value to our quality of life if we achieve freedom, subsistence, protection, love, understanding, identity, participation, creation, and free time. So this is what I'm spreading. Okay, I'll put this to the side. I'm spreading these ideas in order to have a graphic and trying to make it easy, understandable, and but now that I find Ayn Rand, I'm really glad that there is this objectivist philosophy, because I've been following her without knowing, as I said, no. So now I'm getting to know more to her. Now I'm in an international group of students, Atlantis group.
Yes.
I'm a member now of this group, and tomorrow we're having a session. So I'm continuing to go in deep into her philosophy to learn more and to be able to spread more about her. No, we really need Russia.
If we look at the progression of the presidency of Peru, we can see that there have been, Boluarte is now the 5th president since March of 2018. So the presidents in Peru don't really last very long, and therefore there really isn't a whole lot, doesn't really seem to be getting done. It's just drifting in this corrupt system. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, we started this I don't know, shift from president to president to president. I think this started really after PPK elections with Keiko.
Yeah.
She didn't won, no, she didn't won. So he really swore to him that I don't know, I will not support you. But she has majority in the Congress at that moment. So she questioned the validity of the elections. She censored a lot of government initiatives. PPK has this really I don't know. It was a fortune to have this ministry in education, which is really such an issue here, which is Jaime Saavedra, which he's now working for the World Bank. No, he's really such a top guy in the world in education, and I don't know how she really censored him. No, so after all this blocking process, no, also she make alliances with the teacher strike where Castillo was, no. So her objective was really to destabilize the government. And she wanted to impeach PPK. No, PPK is Pedro Pablo Kuczynski. No, we say here it's PPK. And really a small issue, I don't know if it's small, corruption is corruption, yeah, I don't think it's big or small, but an issue appeared with PPK that many years ago, a company where he is he's a partner, no? He was a partner in a company, and this company made some consultancies to Otherbridge. Otherbridge, there was a huge case of corruption, no? So because he was a member, he was, I don't know, he didn't make the consultancy directly. I think he was a member of this company. Then all this thing was brought up, and she started to with this situation, he impeached PPK. But the brother of Keiko, Kenji, who was a congressman at that moment, he was against the impeachment. No, he had this group of Congress who were called the Avengers. I don't know. So they vote against. So the impeachment was not possible. But he I don't know, he negotiate to exchange the pardon to Fujimori, his father.
Yeah.
No, so this generate more instability, more instability because the people who vote for PPK were really against Keiko. So they say, now how can you pardon Fujimori? So this creates a more and more instability.
Yeah.
And some ministers start resigning. No, so PPK start losing popularity. So the Congress decide to go on a second impeachment. So what happened then? Before the impeachment came, the congressmen were negotiating with some ministers or some people for the government about the votes. And one congressman, Mamani, he video record that, so that appeared in the news. Oh, they are negotiating the votes for projects in the regions, no? So there was another scandal, and then PPK say, okay, I will resign, no,
Yeah,
because of the situation.
Just to clarify, you said Pepica?
Yeah, Pedro Pablo Kuczynski. Is okay, in Spanish I'm saying it's PPK.
PPK, okay.
PPK, we say Pedro Pablo Kuczynski, but here is PPK, so I'm sorry I was speaking in Spanish.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
that was...
So maybe you want to, I make a small summary again?
PPK, that was Pedro Pablo Kuczynski, yes.
Kuczynski,
Okay,
yes, he was the president. So Keiko impeached him first.
Yes, okay.
PPK, she impeached him because he was a member of a company who made a consultant to Odebrecht, who was, but it was before he was president. No, he was a member of a company who made a consultant to Odebrecht. So this case appeared, and she made a big issue about it, and they impeached him, but he didn't get the votes for the impeach because the brother of Keiko, Kenji.
Yeah, that's Keiko Fujimori, yes.
Yes, so Kenji Fujimori, his brother, who was a congressman at that moment, he negotiated with his some other Avengers, who say some other congressmen, they vote against the impeachment. So the first impeachment didn't work. Then they go to a second impeachment because Kenji didn't vote for the first impeachment, but he negotiated the pardon of his father. So Alberto Fujimori, the father of Keiko and Kenji, he went out. Yes. So this created more instability because people were really not happy with this decision. Then the Congress decided to go for a second impeachment. But they start negotiating the votes. Mm-hmm. And one congressman, he record this negotiation and say, okay, please don't vote for the impeachment, but and in exchange, I will give you some projects in the regions. No, so this appeared in TV. There was another scandal. So PPK decided to resign. But he was supposed to, not only him to resign. No, the idea was that his two vice presidents also resigned. No, it was Vizcarra, and the other vice president was I forgot the name of this lady, where there was a Mercedes Arauz. So, and if they were really
Arauz,
Mercedes Arauz, yeah. So they were
Araoz, yes.
Yes.
In English, yes.
They were both supposed to resign. So PPK resigned, and then the two vice presidents will resign. Then we have to call to new elections. So at that moment, Keiko Fujimori should have lost the majority of the Congress because of 130 congressmen, she had 73. No, that was such a lot. But she didn't, but Vizcarra didn't resign. So the Congress remained, And the struggles between Congress and president continue. She was
Yes.
against blocking all this situation.
And
So
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
and Fujimori is the Popular Force Party, which is uh, probably much more capitalistic than Castillo. Is that correct or not?
Correct.
Yeah,
In the elections, when there was Keiko and Castillo, okay, I'm not a fan of Keiko, but I vote
yeah,
for her because she was the best option.
yeah,
No, but some people like her. I don't know if her, but his father,
yeah,
because he was able to arrive to a lot of very far and remote areas, no, where they were able to get electricity and things that some other governments never attend. But
yeah,
then he had this oh no, okay, this complex story about his dictatorship. So
yeah,
he also fight for against terrorism, no? So he
yeah,
has these nice things he do, but at the same time he did very bad things. No, he get really corrupted. I think that because of power, because he
really,
was with the wrong people around him, so he get really corrupted.
yeah.
So a lot of people like him, and a lot of people don't like him. No.
But yeah, but but I do believe Fujimori, Alberto Fujimori, who was actually from Japan, but immigrated to Peru for whatever reason. Most people do credit him for putting down the terrorist group known as the Shining Path, which
Yes,
was
definitely. He
a
was. It was.
horrible Marxist movement that just was terrorizing. Interestingly enough, terrorizing mostly poor people in Peru,
Mhm.
mostly in southern Peru, I believe.
Yeah.
And so some cases just controlling these paramilitary groups and who just because I visited Peru 6 years ago, and I wanted to bring somebody from Peru on here just to talk about Peru because it was the second foreign country I ever visited. I'd been to Canada, so it was the first time it really felt like a foreign country. And I also got to say, it's still the poorest country I've ever visited. Uh, I mean, I was in Iquitos in the Amazon. It's like this is what poverty really looks like. I don't know if the situation's any better down in the south, but uh, it's definitely a situation where at least in Iquitos, probably half the people didn't even have refrigerators, and in spite of being in the rainforest, there was almost no air conditioning. Everything was open air, but yeah, so you've lived mostly in Lima, but one thing I wanted to get to also is how much is socialism or communism popular in Peru, or is it just and where is it popular and where is it not popular?
Well, there is a minority, I think, still, which would think that with socialism can solve things. There are also this free Peru, which for me is so ironic. This
Yeah,
name of
yeah, free Peru, but it's basically just free stuff. Yeah,
yeah, it's not free Peru, really the name,
yeah,
which have these ideas, but they are becoming more unpopular, more
yeah,
and more unpopular, because their reasons they have no evidence that things work. They say, "Oh, we'll fight for you." No, they do like this, but really nothing happens. So I think people are really understanding and more that the only way to get out of poverty is working.
yeah,
No, that they really have to work. Uh, we have these two scenarios of poverty here. One is poverty with freedom, but also we have a scenario in the jungle of poverty without freedom, because we have these narco traffic people, which have some slaves, no, like they get people like slaves. Yes, there is a book that two journalists wrote,
hmm
where they make people slaves so that they work for them. So we have these two scenarios, no, like poverty with freedom and poverty without freedom.
So
In last elections, the people who vote more for Castillo was in the south, no, like Cusco, Puno, all the south of Peru, which is poor. And also we have there a lot of influence of Evo Morales from Bolivia. No, he influenced a lot of there, no, and making people believe that they are poor because the capital takes from them, and not because their authorities didn't know how to do it and they are corrupted, no. And also because they want really to came to power and make us be like Venezuela, no. So they
Yeah.
use these people in need, even though they know their methods didn't work, no. So
Uh,
it was really difficult.
does the failure and collapse of Venezuela, is that influencing? I mean, the Peruvians are seeing that happen, and obviously, and some Venezuelans are going to Peru. They're teaching
Yes.
the Peruvians to play baseball.
Oh. Yes, yes. Even though we have this case of Venezuela, Castillo won. No, some people
Yeah,
really, I don't know. My father used to say people don't learn in another head. No, so some people say no, they get out of their country because they want. No, some people really are far from the news. Some people from Venezuela were speaking, say, oh, look what's going on, what happened to us. But even though some people vote for Castillo, no. In remote areas,
yeah,
some people were enforced to vote because there was no one who can see to protect the elections. So I think they steal the vote in the table in the remote areas.
yeah,
No, because of the promise that they were going to have a better life, a lot of promises and populism that okay, nothing changes.
yeah,
So now they are aware. I think more people are aware that socialism didn't work.
yeah. What
But there are still people that believe that socialism worked.
you talked about poverty and slavery. What are these slaves doing exactly? Is
They
it
serve.
prostitution, or is it something worse, or something
Uh, well,
crime?
I no. There is a book. There is a book. I'll take the name here.
Yeah,
That Victor Tipe and Pepe Arrieta they wrote this book.
yeah.
I think I posted on my Facebook.
Okay,
The Valley of the Dead. It is the Valley of the Dead, El Valle de la Muerte. No, where they tell this story, these stories about people making slaves. So
but
they are the
what are they?
slaves,
They
or
work in
so they
fields.
have to plant food, to carry their things,
Okay,
and so for that, no, like the slaves, they're the servants,
okay.
and
So
they don't get anything, and they prepare him. They made this generation of pioneritos. They call like pioneers. They say no, and they prepare them to take the arms, the I don't know, armas, but I don't know, armies, not because armies is brazo, but the guns,
taking
no,
the guns, the right? Yeah. Okay.
taking the guns for revolutionary
It's
process.
it's fair to say that at least some places in the rainforest, people still kind of do whatever they want, don't they? I mean, there really isn't any government at all, is there? I mean, I've even heard, of gangs that live in the rainforest and still rob people, and they might even rob boats on the Amazon. Maybe that's happening more in Brazil, but they just hide it, and because the rainforest is what it really still probably the if you want to hide out, go hide out in the rainforest. I mean, just disappear and go somewhere where nobody can find you.
Yes, yes, that's true. That's true. There is a lot of places where there's no state, no, or very few, or if the state wants to go, they're threatened because of these military
Yeah,
people doing narco traffic. But still, there are very nice places. No, I think
yeah,
they're becoming a minority. No,
yeah,
but they are still there. No, so
yeah. And
um, mhm.
and and as some of our as many people don't know, in northeast Peru on the Amazon, there's a city I visited called Iquitos that's got about a 500,000 people, but you either go there by you either fly into the airport or you go by boat. You cannot get there on any vehicular transportation, not cars, not trains. I mean, I suppose you could ride a horse through the rainforest, but you probably wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, that's true because
Yeah,
Iquitos is surrounded by rivers, so you have to get there by airplane. No,
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
an island in the middle of the country.
yeah.
No, but it's really nice. But the authorities, I don't know, they are not so they are not prepared. No, they just arrive
Yeah,
to this
yeah,
political regional governments, and then
yeah,
they just rob. That they really don't care about people, no, or they care really a little.
yeah,
They think these positions, no, are for, I don't know, having cars and having a better life for them, no, and for the people who are near them, but not really for the
yeah,
people, no, not really for them. So they are really confused, and I think there is a lot to do, a lot to do. No, we have a lot of variety of woods.
mhm,
We can do such a lot of things. With this carbon bonus, or this is there is a lot too. We have these protected areas, to protect these areas for having more tourists. No, so I don't know. We are such a beautiful country,
oh yes,
and we can perfectly make all of our people live from tourism, from agriculture, from transformation of these products. But I don't know.
yeah.
It's really
I,
hard.
I also read somewhere that Peru has more different species of birds than any other country in the world. I mean, which really says something about how diverse it is. I mean, if you have all these different kinds of birds, uh,
Yes, yes, we have a lot of birds. No, there is tourism
yeah,
for
different
people who
kinds of
want for
birds.
bird watching. No, a lot.
I mean, there's probably more birds in a larger country like Russia, but just different species of birds. Yeah,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
because of the different uh, climates we have.
yeah,
No, this
different.
make the conditions for having such a different kind of birds. No,
Yeah,
of plants, of insects, of trees.
yeah,
Uh, okay, of cultures, of
yeah,
foods. No, I think there are foods even that we don't know that
yeah,
some fruits from the jungle are now we can see in Lima, but some years ago they were not here. No, they were like, what is that? That's an
yeah.
unknown fruit. But fortunately, we are having some more market for these products, which are really really good for health. No.
Yeah. So, is there still very much a, we're talking about the communists and stuff. So there's still very much a divide between the descendants of the Europeans and the indigenous, the Incas, the people who live in the rainforest, who of course are completely all so different from the Incas. I mean, is there still a divide there? I mean, because I think Peru, for being a country of 31 or 32 million people, still has over 80 different languages.
Yes and no. I think we are really a mixture. No, I
Yeah.
think people in the capital city, where there is people from every part of the
Mhm.
country, because we used to be very centralized. No, where I think
Mhm.
recently, like some years, I don't think
Mhm.
it's 2000, where we 2010, when decentralization starts. But before, Lima was the main city, so a lot of people from everywhere came to Lima. So I think we are really a mixture, no? My parents are from Cusco, both, but they came to Lima to work because there were better work conditions. So I came to Lima. I was born in Lima, but I love Cusco. No, I love the highlands and all the country. No, while I'm getting to know more the country, so I think we're a mixture. No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
yeah. Well, I mean, and of course, if you regard, and people debate whether or not Quechua is a language or a language family, but if you count it as a language, I believe it's spoken by about 8 million people, and it's the most common indigenous language in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah. So, and then you have the languages of the Amazon. I just wondered if there was. Do you think the indigenous tend to be more socialist or less socialist, or more? Is there a political divide there about who supports the socialism versus who doesn't?
In the south they tend to be more socialist. In the south of Peru they
Okay.
tend to be more socialist, especially the
Yeah.
people who are apart from modernization and market. No, because the people who already work for tourism, who have already find their entrepreneurs, they
Yeah.
work and they defend. No, but the people you were talking about this language of the south. No, there are two main languages. It's Quechua, the language Quechua,
Yeah.
no,
Quechua.
Quechua, but more in the south is Aymara.
Aymara. Yeah.
Aymara, which is also in Puno, no, and
Yeah.
I think they have this a speech which I really don't like, that they have to refundational speech about the Incas, no, and I think that it doesn't work, no, like they really need to
Hmm.
refund, but I think refund is not the word. But
Yeah.
do you understand what I mean when I say refund, refundational, or no?
Reforms foundational. I'm not really sure exactly what you mean by reforms foundational.
Okay, let's see. I am looking here
Yeah.
in.
Aymara is spoken by about well, it looks like still 1% of 1 to 2% of the population. Quechua was spoken by about 10%. Correction, it's only about 4 million in Peru that speak Quechua, but there's about. I mean, Peru is still, but that's Quechua is still over 10% of the population. So
Yeah, I think when to reestablish, okay, like to reestablish their culture.
yeah,
Uh,
reestablish. Yes.
yeah, that's what the word I was looking for. This discourse that indigenous need to be reestablished and the Incas need to be reestablished. I think it really doesn't work. We have a lot of cultures here. We have the Mochica, the Nazca, the Tiahuanaco. So imagine if everyone is saying, "Oh, we need to be reestablished." No, I
Yeah.
think there should be a speech that we all are equal, that we all deserve a meaningful life, and that we should work, and the government should promote work, should promote market, but not refundational, because then they say it's like a victimization a
Yes.
speech,
Hmm.
saying, "Oh no, they need to be reestablished. We need to be reestablished,"
Yeah.
like they owe
Hmm.
them something. And
Hmm.
I think this speech is really not helping,
Yeah.
not helping. No?
Yeah. And I should point
But
out
I
some.
know some words in Quechua. No, I love Quechua. My parents used to talk some words. No, I don't know much about it. I would love to know more, so that I communicate much better with the indigenous people. No, but while I was trying to learn and to create a speech in Quechua, I get to know that it's not the same Quechua in Cusco, for him, for example, that in Ayacucho or that in Puno.
Yes.
The words are different,
Yeah.
so it's not easy, no, to
There.
make a speech when in each region they have these variations of the language, so it makes it
Yeah.
harder, no.
And there's
Mhm.
some varieties of Quechua in Bolivia and Ecuador. So if you put it all together, it is about 8 million. I've learned some medicine songs, but I'm not sure if they have they might have Quechua words in them, but they might also have Shipibo words. So,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
which Shipibo being a language of the rainforest, but then there's
Yes, yes.
uh,
There are
so
other also
you know uh,
some languages in the
yeah,
jungle, but I'm really
yeah,
not familiar to them. But to Quechua, yes, I'm
yeah.
a bit familiar.
Well, one
You know?
thing I think we don't appreciate is that when you're more isolated and you're, say, in the rainforest, languages, because now we have mass communications, languages are going to fuse back to. I think they're going to fuse back together. I mean,
Yeah,
we're going to
maybe
have.
in the long run, yes, no,
Yeah,
in the
I
long
mean,
run.
it's possible. I mean, it's possible in time that even Spanish and Portuguese will go back to being just one language if there's enough communication there. It's And I
Yes,
also realize too, if you don't have paper and you don't write things down, you probably have a lot less words because you just don't have any recording of them. Whereas if you can have dictionaries, you can have a lot more words. It's very very interesting to see how that affects things. It's
yes.
uh, one thing we haven't gotten to, but I did want to get to. Peru was one of the worst places you could have possibly been in March of 2020 for restrictions. I've heard stories about a woman getting arrested for taking out trash. I've also heard that it was a case where men could go out 3 days a week, women could go out 3 days a week, and nobody could go out on Sunday. Can you tell? And this was under Martin Vizcarra, who I still rate as possibly the worst corona tyrant of all, and but there's probably a competition for that. But what can you tell me about Peru during the panicdemic?
Well, it was really a hard time for us. It was
Yeah,
really, really difficult, and all the things you're saying are true. No?
yeah,
The speech from the government was that they really care for us. No, we have at that time a young woman who was in the Ministry of Economics, and she appeared with Vizcarra saying, "Oh, we really care about people. We really don't know what's happening. There is this invisible disease, and we really want you to be okay. No, we're going to give some incentives for the workers or the companies and all that." So we somehow believe that. No, we say, okay, let's see what happens. At the beginning, we think it was one week, then it was, they start getting it longer. Now, first it was like, okay, a short time, we'll be in your houses. Then they say a bit more, and then a bit more, and then a bit more, and then it becomes too long. No, but from my side, I can say that I was scared about this invisible disease. I really don't know what was going on. I have two kids, and this speech of, okay, we will take care. The schools will be held on virtually. So it was really hard. No, this policy that we have to go one day man and then one woman, it really didn't work. I think it didn't work. I think it did just last 1 or 2 weeks, or only 1 week, I think, because immediately it appears that it was really a stupid thing, to do. But it was
yeah,
a really hard time to us,
yeah,
and the pandemic was really, really very bad. They have a bad manage. They were not based on evidence on what masks to use, or to use masks of clothes, and not the technical ones. Uh, and to close people, I think is the worst thing you can do. No.
yeah. And is Peru pretty much back to normal now?
Yeah, yeah, yes, we're back to normal, I can say. We struggled a lot of uh, business didn't survive, but the ones who survived, they really changed to a virtual mode or to a delivery mode. I think one good thing was that banking transactions, no, we grew on that, no,
Yeah.
that to okay to have a people who never had a bank account, now they used to have a bank account, so that people can still have their markets working. But it was really a difficult time. A lot of people die. A lot of people died. That was really a shame.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think we have a really bad manage of pandemic.
Yeah.
That closing people. Well, I was listening in other countries. They say, okay, the stores will be open 24 hours so that people can go anytime, and they don't get massive only in one time. No. So I see, oh,
Yeah.
what's going on? Oh, you cannot go to with your
And
dog outside.
yeah.
That was really difficult for us.
And in many cases, when people don't have refrigerators at home, they end up having, in America, there's a tendency where people will go to the store and buy a week's worth or even 2 weeks worth of food and keep that at home. And I don't think that's an option for Peruvians. I think they probably go to the store more often.
Yes, because there is a lot of people who live the day.
Yeah.
No, they work the day. They have the money for the day,
Yeah.
and with that they go and buy the food. They don't have a refrigerator, and 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 that's how a lot of people live.
Yeah.
I was in Iquitos as well after the pandemic, and and I talk to people. Well, how do you manage, no? And they say, well, at least here we have food. No, we have
Yeah.
food, and they were somehow free in the forest. And they have food, they have fish, they have fruits. But it was also really hard to them because they live mainly from tourism. No, so
Yeah.
and tourism was cut.
I sometimes I think the whole reason for this was to just foil ayahuasca tourism. I've been down there for the to sample some of the various Amazonian plant medicines, and it's very interesting to see some of the medicines that were developed by the people who live in the rainforest and what they did. It's they use a lot of different plants to solve a lot of different problems, and I've heard some people having very good results. But and it's all getting back to nature. But that is one thing: is spite of seeing people seem to be poor, it's a rainforest. Food is everywhere. You get fruits. You can hunt the animals. I do know some of them eat monkeys. I'm that's too close to humans. I'm not going there. but
No,
yes,
I haven't tried also, but I tried crocodile. I
yes, they
have
have.
this
Yeah, they have
chicharrón de
alligators.
cocodrilo. I tried; it was nice.
Yes, yeah,
But there is a lot of knowledge, no,
yeah,
in people in the forest, also in the highlands. There is a
yeah,
lot of ancestral traditional knowledge, and a lot of variety of plants and medicine. No, that is really important.
yeah, yeah.
Really important.
The other thing too is when when you're growing up closer to nature like that and in a poor country, I think the kids. I would probably rather raise my kids in Peru than here because America has gotten so into an attitude of making everything safe that America doesn't want to let kids live anymore. I mean, you can see kids in Peru who are maybe 6 years old, rowing a canoe on a big river. And if you tried to do that in America, people would go nuts. That's dangerous for that kid to be rowing that canoe on the river. He's too young to do that. It's well, how are they ever going to learn and how are they ever grow up? And I've heard of 10 and 11-year-old kids vapor baths. They'll put the plants in boiling water, and you sit over and then you sit over the vapors, and you just absorb the vapors. It's and the steam. Yeah, because in a lot of places you're really just you're expected to do more at a younger age, and you end up becoming more mature.
Yeah, yes, I think we have to let our kids do a lot of things, even though we are scared sometimes, because a lot of things happen now in the world.
Yeah.
But we have to let them live their lives.
Yeah.
And have their experiences, and if they fall, they will stand. And I think that's really important, because if you overprotect the kids, they will not develop their talents or a sense of I don't know, of independence, of that is important. But also we have to take care of our kids, because a lot of things happen in the world. There is a lot of bad people. But we cannot live our lives scared all the time. We have to have a sense of protection, but we need them to live and to learn and to have experiences, because from there they will grow. So that's important.
Yeah. What do you another thing I've heard there too, though, is that apparently the culture of the Incas was very much a culture of obey the law, obey the leaders. Is there still very much that much of an attitude of bowing down to authority in Peru, or is that? I've heard it's that very much that way, which is why a lot of these restrictions were so bad, is because nobody was fighting them.
I'm not so sure. I think we are fighting for our liberty. We're learning, but we tend to obey. The government says, okay, you should do this, but also we were enforced to do that, because if someone does something different, then you don't want to go to jail. It was really difficult. I'm not sure how to answer your question, but on one side we tend to obey, but when we feel threatened, I think we will react. We react when Castillo threatened our liberty. That was really, there was a big reaction from people. But with the pandemic, I think we really don't know what was going on. It was really difficult. I think but some people react. I think also that we came out asking please to schools to open, because it was okay. They closed the schools for a short time, but the time was 2 years. They say, okay, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, more, and then it became 2 years. So we started going out and asking, oh, please open schools, because we saw that some other countries have a short period of virtuality, but then they shift immediately to a mixed or to the normal way. So it was really difficult. We saw a lot of people dying, so we were also scared of all these people dying. So it was really difficult to react, I think.
Yeah. Where do you think Peru goes from here? What do you think Peru can do for the next 20 years? Do you think it's going to still stay about the same, or is things going to get better? And what's your view overall of South America? Because
well, there is a big threat, and we have this president in Colombia, Petro, which is saying that he will take this unused land. He will take that as a threat to private property. And also he says that we should not call crime to things that used to be crime, so they will build this crime. So there's really completely irrational. Then we have Mexico president also, who was protecting the wife of Castillo, who was saying, oh, if people don't want to get a hitchhike, then we should all be poor. So we have this a speech all around, which is threatening us. but I think we are really fighting, making a lot of political movement and activism for liberty, for freedom, and I'm also in that mood, no, and I will continue. I decided that I will continue because I want to take care of my kids, and I think that is the best way for me to take care of my kids is to speak of having a free country, of all the things that valuable things that we have, starting with the people. No, we should stop talking about poverty and talking what makes us valuable. No, so I would like to say I see a better future. No, there is a lot of activists also in Latin America which are speaking and trying to bring reason to this context. So I would like to say we will have a better future with tourism, with food security. But also we are in a difficult situation now because we are facing some climate changes at the moment. No, this time of the year we should be really cold, and now you see the sun in the north of Peru. The climate has changed. The crops we used to plant there cannot be planted because the climate has changed. They need some hours of cold and hours of sun, and all this change. No, so it's really difficult. It's really difficult in this. No, so we are facing the phenomenon del Niño.
Yes.
Which I faced it in 2017. I was living in Piura, and my house was full of water. It was really hard.
Yes.
But I think we are people who really love our country. We have this sense of patriotism, and we are going out. We are getting organized, much and more. No, because if there is something we can say about the left, is that they are well organized. They have the worst ideas, but they are well organized. And we have realized that we have to organize ourselves much better now. So we are really getting organized, I think. So I expect for a better future, but we have still a lot of threats, the climate, the irrational speech. So we have to fight for that.
Yes, and most of Peru is in the southern hemisphere. So right now it is January, which also is for the southern hemisphere is the coldest month of their year. So yes, so that's one thing. If you visit Peru, you can also see a completely different sky and see different star charts. I didn't realize that until I got out into the rainforest, and then I had no internet access, and I couldn't figure out what those stars were. But
yeah, I love to see in the jungle. You have this. You can see perfectly. No, if there are no clouds in the sky, you can see perfectly all the stars. It's really nice. Yes, it's really nice. So I think we have to make our people learn how to have a meaningful life. No, I think they are some are very low esteem maybe, or they think they cannot, but they really can. No, they really have to believe in themselves and realize that the reason is our most, as Ayn Rand said, no, reason is our most important tool for survival. No, and from there we have to start thinking. No, knowledge is out there. We didn't born with knowledge. Knowledge is out there. We have to make an effort to get it. And so reason is the most highest value. No, so I'm using reason to build reason in others. No, not just because someone told me, and not be a second-handed person, but to build reason. So that's I'm on my way. I really expect to get results, to spread this speech, and to make people think, no, that they have some possibilities. The government is here to help, to promote, but not to do the things for them, no?
Yeah. Uh, yeah. You know, one thing I've found interesting is why are there almost no railroads in South America?
No real.
Railroads, trains.
Oh, railroads. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Mm, yes. I think this the president, the current mayor of Lima, who was candidate for president, he has this plan to make trains,
Yeah.
but he had a plan to
But
make this some trains. But now at least we have one train in Lima, one electric train, no,
yeah,
for
but
mass transportation, but we don't have that really.
but I also mean for traveling throughout the countries, and I mean, okay, you have a train inside of like a public transportation system, but I mean, railroads were so much the easy way. They were the way to travel, and it's actually a relatively they have less impact on the environment, and they're a lot much more. I mean, that was how we got across the United States of America before we had cars. So I'm thinking, if I mean, if Iquitos ever gets any ground transportation, I figure it will probably be a railroad. But there's no railroad network in Peru, in South America anywhere. You can't go from Lima to Bogota by train, or you can't go from Lima to Quito by train.
No, we do that by airplane mainly or by road, but it will be a bit far. I think there are just few trains from Cusco to Machu Picchu. You have this
Yeah.
train, and some local areas there. There are the train also works. A train to Huancayo, and some trains for mineral transportation. But as you say, no, there is really few trains.
Yeah.
And if it's low impact, then I will check a bit more. I think there were some projects on that.
Yeah.
I will check now because it would be really a
It's
important
almost as if maybe
opportunity.
maybe nobody trusts the system well enough to invest all the money to build a railroad, because a railroad is a long project that requires a lot of investment.
Yeah, maybe if people are against, then they will protest, and then all gets spoiled. No, it's really because some people will have their own interests. They don't want people to go to their area because there is maybe illegal mining or something. So they don't see the whole picture. No, they just see some points and have some radical ideas, and maybe
Yeah.
they are based on that. No, so it really doesn't
Yeah.
work.
And I wonder too how things will change. I mean, if Iquitos ever gets connected by roads, how is Iquitos going to change? I can imagine it will change a whole lot in a lot of different ways. But one thing is, it'll be easier for them to get things that they need there. For example, when I was in Iquitos, it was hard for them to get things like glass jars and just basic things that we take for granted elsewhere. And most people didn't even have cars. They either had motorcycles, or they had these little, as they call them, the tuk tuks, or the
Yeah, which is really it's a really noisy city,
yeah, they're
no?
noisy. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's noisy.
Very noisy. I think it's like ironic, no? You go to the jungle, but the city is so noisy,
Yeah.
and not only the cars, but also the people put the volume really loud on their
Yeah.
TVs, on their music, no?
Yeah.
I think there should be an awareness campaign, no? Of okay, if you want to listen to your music so loud, okay, use headphones, no, or things like that. They don't
Yeah.
really need to put everything so loud. But about the cars, I don't know what we
Yeah.
can do. No,
But
we
they
we
hardly
really
have any
need
cars anymore.
more environmental friendly, maybe bikes with motorbikes, or
Yeah.
something that is more friendly, less noisy. Uh, That would be really nice because I get this high impress
Yeah.
when I went there. I worked there. I worked there some years ago, but I also went there with my family. This time of the year, 1 year ago, we were there.
Yeah, that was what I didn't see a lot of bicycles in Peru. Or in Lima. That was interesting. I thought there might have been more people riding bicycles, but I didn't see them much. And the other
But
thing,
I think since pandemic, the bicycles, there are more bicycles. I
yeah,
think this one would think of the pandemic that people start riding more
yeah,
bikes, also normal bikes or motorbikes. No, I
yeah,
think this market is growing, but because of our traffic, it's very complex to say
yes,
to be good with the words, but it's there are not a lot of bike roads, but there are more now.
oh
No,
yeah,
so there are more now, and I think this bicycle thing it's getting better. There are also a lot of motorcycles now with this delivery system, and also bikes. No, there are more bikes and more motorcycles.
yeah,
No,
motorcycles. Yeah, there are
yes,
definitely a lot of motorcycles because it's wasn't that hard to get them there. But yeah, and not to mention the yeah, if you had a car, if you have a car in Iquitos, you're considered rich. It was because they'd have to ship them all the way up the Amazon to bring them in there. It was I did find it, yeah. Although one thing interesting too is it wasn't that hard to hit a lot of the those tuk tuks that or motor cars or whatever they call them. You just stand out on the street and you could hail one pretty easily. And usually it's like always negotiate with them and say, okay, well, how much? Negotiate the price before you go, and then yeah, it was a very still very much a cash society too. It's a you want to get some
yes.
souls if you're going there. But,
Yes, the only thing I think that of these we call moto taxis here,
yeah,
no, is that they're kind of fresh. When there is hot areas, it's kind of fresh because you go and you get the air. Also in Piura, in the
oh yeah,
north of Peru, they are very popular,
yeah,
no, because they are cheap and they are some kind fresh, but they are not so safe, no. You get crushed there and probably you don't live to tell the story.
well, the other the other interesting thing about Iquitos, of course, is because it's so close to the equator. Yeah, it's always 12 hours day, 12 hours night, and the weather pretty much stays the same all year. So everybody just gets used to it. There's hardly any air conditioning anywhere. So and so many of the buildings are sort of like inside outside. You'll have you'll go in a building, but then you'll go to a part where it's completely open, and they kind of mix it up that way. It's I think the people got used to it. I was there for a day and I got used to it. And says, okay, I'm no big deal. You just adjust and you're fine. And
Yes, yes. In general, in Peru, we don't have this extreme big shift climate, no? Like
yeah,
going on a really hot to really cold. It's okay,
yeah,
a bit hot to a bit cold, but the daylight hours are almost the same. We have some small
yeah,
changes, but we are not used to this
yeah.
very
Mhm.
dramatic changes like in other places, no, where the day becomes too long from sometimes and another periods it becomes too short. Here it's almost the same, no?
And as a result, it seems like people generally were getting up earlier. I mean, I saw people out before 8 o'clock in the morning. Lots of people were out. It's you wouldn't see that in America. It's people still go by the yeah. So they're always getting up earlier doing stuff. It was definitely a fascinating in many different ways to see how that impacted people. And above all, I think there was more of an in some ways I think there was more of an innocence there. I mean, I remember the big cathedral, the doors on that cathedral were always wide open. So it was like, you want to come in and pray, come in and pray. You can do it anytime you want. You would not see that in America where the church is just wide open, unfortunately. Maybe in a small town in America, but not, you wouldn't see it in an American city the size of Iquitos.
So I really get more or less what you say. The doors are always open in the church. You mean where?
When I was down there 6 years ago, the doors to to the big church in Iquitos were
Okay.
always open. So
Okay. Okay.
and
Okay.
they weren't just and it wasn't just unlocked; they were also open. So
Oh, yes, yes,
I
yes,
mean, it was
yes,
basically just saying, "Hey, come on in." You know,
yes, yes.
I mean, you'll see some if you go out into small town or rural America, you can probably find some churches that are unlocked where you can just walk in, and if you want to walk in, kneel down and pray, go ahead. But you would not see that in an American city the size of Iquitos. That would be very unusual. Nowadays, they want to protect things from crime. I think maybe there's just a
Mhm.
little more honor because, yeah, there's definitely a and that was another thing too. Is I still saw a lot of businesses closed on Sunday. In
Oh,
yeah,
in Iquitos.
in Iquitos, yes, restaurants, gyms. Yeah, you don't. I mean, in America, you'll see a lot of places open on Sunday. It's
Well, it depends. If people don't go, then they should
yeah,
adjust to their
mhm,
market. You know,
yeah,
because if they open and people don't go, I don't know. But what I realized when I live in Piura, that there was a time of the day that it was so hot from 1 to 4. A lot of business closed. No, a lot of business closed because it was really hot. People were not encouraged to go out to buy or to do things at that time of the day because it was really hot. Now, until they build these big shopping centers with air conditioners, so okay, now people can go out at that time of the day.
yeah. I didn't think of that, but yeah, that's something they do in the in the Middle East. The things close in the middle of the days because it gets so hot. People work in the morning or they work in the evening. Yeah, very much. Yeah, how did your kids handle all the COVID stuff? By the way, your kids, I think you said, are 10 and 18, or
Yes, yes, I have two kids of 8 and 18. And my older kid and my husband got COVID at the beginning when you don't know really what to do. So I was really scared. Now I was really scared. I remember one was isolated in his room, my husband in another room, and I was like the nurse all the time taking the temperature and making this oxygen thing to see how was the oxygen in their body, calling the doctor, so what we can do, preparing a lot of drinks with plants and also a lot of variety of foods and colors because foods of colors are anti-inflammatory for the body, no?
yeah,
And I remember one day I was really scared because my older kid started with this COVID thing, and at the beginning I saw him. Well, he was not going okay, but then in like very fast he got a very strong cough and I think their lungs were affected. So I called the doctor and he says, okay, you just go to buy some medicine. So I remember I went out in my car, at the time that it was not permitted. But I have the COVID test. I have the recipe from the doctor. So I say, okay, some police caught me. I will show this, no. But I was scared because I was not allowed to go out. But I fortunately arrived to a drugstore, a pharmacy. I bought the medicine and I went back home. And no, there was no police around. and
mhm.
and and then he started getting better. And also my husband also, he had a different reaction from COVID. No, he had some reaction in the skin. All the skin, like it changes its texture. It was I don't know, some, each people react different, no? So it was like a lot of days taking care of them, a lot of liquid, a lot of rest, changing the clothes, the blankets, putting alcohol everywhere, and me and my younger kid didn't get COVID, no, only my husband and my other kid, but fortunately
Hmm.
they they get better, no.
Yeah. What do you tell kids about all the way people are acting? How do you explain that to them?
Can you repeat, please?
How do you explain the insanity to your kids and tell them not to be afraid?
Oh, just keep calm, and I don't know. We have to live a day at a time. Live a day at a time. That was the moment, no?
Yeah.
Just that's all we can do
Yeah.
when we're in a situation like that. One day at a time.
I forgot to ask, what's the situation with the Peruvian college professors? Are they mostly socialists, or do you think they'll go or are they capitalist, or is it kind of a mix of both? I've heard the South American colleges are just as bad as they are up here.
I think the private teachers maybe are more capitalists, the private ones, but the ones of the government, I think that they are. I cannot give a number, no, but there is a lot of socialists there, no. And I also saw the news that the ministry was checking because there were some teachers that were really not teachers, no. They make a fake document to say that they are teachers. So there is a lot to do with teachers. No, they are not well paid, and there's a lot of teachers are socialists. So it's hard, no, and they teach the things to the kids, no. So imagine, it's really hard.
Yeah.
We
Hmm.
have a lot of things to do, uh, so that they can give a real value to work. No, the work is what take us from poverty, and they have to make children really develop their talents. I think that is, and not have a memoristic teaching only, but more a critical thinking, developing their talents, and building in them skills for the future, and not just memorizing things. And I think that kind of teaching doesn't work. No, it's important to know, okay, some important information, but now there's internet for that. No, I think that we should learn to make questions, and with that questions we get to answers. We have a lot of tools, we have internet, and you can find the answers. So the important thing is to make them to be researchers, to to value themselves, and to to make them have a meaningful life in what they want, no, and they can do it. If you really have a dream, okay, go for your dream, and that is really important, no, and don't become them second handers, no.
Yes.
Mhm.
Are there any great Peruvians that we should all know about if we've never and where should we go if we visit Peru?
You mean people or places?
Well, any people we should know about, any places. Yeah, I'm in great liberty minds in Peru, and of course, also I realize I asked two separate questions. Any places we should go visit?
Oh, okay. I think we have Mario Vargas Llosa, which is
Yeah,
a famous writer, Peruvian.
Mario
The Mario
Mario.
Vargas Llosa.
Oh yes, Mario Vargas Yoga. Yeah, Yosa. Yeah, yeah.
Llosa,
No,
yes,
that's right.
yes, he got
Yeah,
a Nobel Prize on literature.
Yes.
Then we have, I think, a lot of people on cooking. Oh, I'm not so good with the names, but
Yeah.
Gaston Acurio, which is a famous cooker here.
Yeah. Mhm.
No, I think we have many restaurants that are, I think, I think we have the best restaurant in the world, or one of the best restaurants
Yeah.
on the
Mhm.
top. No, the places to go. Then, let me see.
Yeah. I remember I found some good food in Iquitos, I think because it's so close to nature. Yeah. I remember I also had some good, I had a real, it's funny. I had a really good hamburger in Iquitos once, and it was this beef from Chile, and I would think it was in the French restaurant. Believe it or not, I can't remember the name of that French restaurant. But I went out and said, "Okay, get a burger." And of course, being in Peru, the most expensive thing on the menu was still only like the equivalent of $10 American.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The food here is cheap, and there is a lot of variety. No.
Yeah,
Uh, yes.
yeah, and granted, it's been 6 years, but when I was in Iquitos, a city of about a half a million people, I did not even see a McDonald's, and McDonald's is
Ah,
everywhere.
McDonald's.
Yeah,
Yes.
McDonald's. I couldn't. I said, "Wow." I think this has changed, but the only American business I saw, or any business for that matter, out from America was a Western Union office. That was all I saw there. I think there is a hotel there now that's American, but maybe there's a Hilton or something. But yeah, that was really interesting to see that. Yeah, it's definitely a there's a lot of interesting places to visit in Peru. I've read a lot of things about the yeah, Machu Picchu, and it's a beautiful place. You can go to the rainforest. You can also go to the parts of the Atacama Desert, which is the driest desert in the world, is there too. It's an amazing place. Do
Oh,
you
but
have?
that is Chile. Atacama Desert
Yeah.
is in Chile. Yeah.
Well, Peru has a small border with Chile, but yes.
Mm, mhm.
Yeah, the interesting thing is I mean, Peru's longest borders are with, it has a very long border with Brazil, but there's only one border crossing with Brazil. I mean, most cases you go between. I mean, where you can actually go on a road, it's just tells you how much no man's land the rainforest is. If you want to go out and get disconnected and just cut yourself off, go out to the rainforest. So
Mhm.
your cell phone won't work. Nobody will call you. You just
Unless you have a satellite
yeah.
telephone. No.
Yeah, and while there is no and while there isn't really much temperature fluctuation in temperature, you will notice a rainy season and a drier season.
Yes.
I know the Amazon River, which is completely unregulated, fluctuates very much. I think maybe 15 to 20 feet between the highs and the lows, but I'm not sure. Or maybe 5 or 6 meters in your terms, but yes. So uh,
Oh, well, I want to say we also have this famous tenor,
yeah.
no, these Peruvian that are alive, because we have also
Hmm.
some famous Peruvian but who are dead, which
Yes.
is Juan Diego Flores. He's a very famous tenor.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, that's about all I need to say. Right, I think don't think we have anything else to talk about at this point. Do you have anything you want to say before we go?
Oh, yes. Thank you very much for this
Yeah.
conversation. I love to have this conversation, and so that the things that are going on in Peru are not distorted, no, because sometimes the news really appear to be, I don't know, some other things. I think we're a democracy. There is a lot of nice places here. You can come. We're nice people. We want to have meaningful lives, and we have a lot of variety of foods, animal, birds, cultural
Yes.
places. Uh, I, there is a lot to visit, to learn. Here in Latin America in general, and as well in Peru, you're most welcome. And whenever you want to know about anything happen, please contact me so that you have the real news and not the distortion of reality.
Oh, yes.
I don't like people making a bad image of what we really are, because of some small minorities which are going to, I think, become rational soon.
I realize now, if you want to know what's going on in some of these places, you don't really know unless you can speak the language or read the language. It's a I forgot to mention too, in the rainforest, many of the indigenous peoples do believe that the plants are consciousness, and they are conscious, and that they do communicate with us in ways that we may not fully understand. But yes, I didn't get that until I was down there in the rainforest, but it's a fascinating place. You can see a lot of amazing life there.
Yeah, it's really amazing. You really get in contact with nature, in a complete natural way.
Yeah.
And I think there are not so many places in the world now, like that. So it's really valuable. It's really valuable.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Well, I'm Chris Baker. This is please follow my Substack, subscribe, like the video, and certainly watch other videos. And this is Fountainhead Forum 74, and we are out.